broker dealer. And you should, my opinion, whether you do business with, or you work with, call us, talk to us or not, you definitely want to use somebody that is a fiduciary.
2 minutes.
Okay. And I agree with that because just from the standpoint, the fiduciary level of responsibility is just much different. And I know I've had it explained before, like if your fiduciary is not doing necessarily what you want. He's doing what's best for you. And that's kind of the idea of it. Yeah. I love that part.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't do that, then I'll lose my license and I got 3 kids to feed. So, so I'm going to do what's in the best interest of my clients.
That's funny. I know. And ultimately it's like, and I want to protect my family. So that's.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you want to help people and you want to do right by people. And that's why I do this.
I love it. I love it. So one of the things I'm going to do, I get to do this with Anthony every week, and I get to do it with you today. Thank you very much. Is I'm going to put out a scenario just to kind of ask you. I've got 2 different scenarios that I would give you. One of the things that we deal with a lot is people's inherited money. And I'm not going to specifically get into inherited IRAs, but I want to ask some questions about people that inherit money and kind of what you would suggest on maybe what they could do. So I'll give you a couple of those scenarios when we come back. We're going to take a quick break here now. We are on the Word on Wealth, and I'm here with Aaron Wright, a fiduciary investment advisor with Retirement Specialty Group. Their number is 931-RETIRED, 931-RETIRED. And if you want to ask a question directly of Aaron, the number is 888-344-1170, 888-344-1170. More to come when we come back here on the Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to the Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
You're saving and investing for the future, and that's good. Have you ever stopped to think, where does my money actually go? This is Faith-Based Investing with Anthony Wright.
Most Christians just don't understand that the money they save for retirement usually helps fund the abortion industry and other liberal anti-family causes. But did you know that with just a few minutes of your time, we can screen and clean your investments at no cost to you? It's absolutely complimentary. Just go to the website right now, download a free copy of my book, Faith-Based Investing. It's free as well. You deserve to know the truth as the investor. Then the choice is yours. You can keep doing what you're doing, or you can line up your investments and life savings with your beliefs. We are fiduciary investment advisors. You can feel good about investing with confidence. So learn more now. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com or call me at 931-RETIRED. Your free book is waiting for you. Go to BibleSafeInvesting.com and be sure that you listen to Faith-Based Investing this weekend right here on Family Talk.
So, Gary, we've talked a long time about estate administration. So what is that and why is it important?
Estate administration is the distribution part of estate planning. So when someone passes away and they leave money to beneficiaries, the property has to be administered. So it's like taking it from the decedent to the survivor. That's called the estate administration process. So usually you're going to have a successor trustee that's named in the trust. They'll have no idea what they're doing because they've never done it before. So then they call on GQ Law and we walk them step by step on how to be a successful and good successor trustee. We also do the required notifications. We notify the Department of Health Services and all the legal requirements so that they can have the estate administration done properly. We help successor trustees be successful.
Call or click to request your free consultation. gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST. gqlaw.com.
Who will you trust with the biggest financial decision of your lifetime? If you're planning to buy or sell a home in San Diego County, do what I do and work with the true San Diego real estate experts. Ken Pecos and the Pecos Group helped me and my family. They can help you. This is Gary Quackenbush of the Word on Wealth. You hear Ken every week here on the Word on Wealth. He's our expert. He's got integrity, exceptional service, deep knowledge of the San Diego, Coronado, and South Bay regions. These are just some of the reasons that Ken Pecos has completed hundreds of transactions. He manages a powerful team of professionals at the Pecos Group. From single-family attached homes to luxury high-value waterfront properties to apartment buildings, Ken Pecos is ready to help you avoid problems and costly mistakes. Learn more online at kenpecos.com. That's Ken Pecos, Pecus.com. Or call 619-977-8419.
DRE number 010566969, brokered by eXp Realty.
Attention all patriots, are you ready to embark on
You're not alone. Ask for the legal help you need. Call Gary and the team at GQ Law 855-500-TRUST or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free consultation or to talk with a member of the GQ team. That's gqlaw.com 855-500-TRUST.
All right, welcome to Word on Wealth. You are listening to Anthony Wright's chief trader, not traitor, Anthony Wright. So we got Aaron Wright on the phone today. Hails from Tennessee, and he is here to answer your questions. If you've got questions, we have lines open, 888-344-1170. We'd love to hear from you and have Aaron answer your financial questions. Okay, so Aaron is a financial fiduciary, and so I'm going to ask him a couple questions that I've run into just kind of to get some ideas. So 35-year-old kid inherits money from grandpa. Okay, grandpa is really generous, has a bunch of money, and gives the guy outright after his death, obviously, $50,000. So in today's market, a kid comes to you. I'm saying kid, sorry. 35-year-old comes to you and says,
35-year-old, yeah.
yeah, it's like, I know. Well, for me, that's anyway. But 35-year-old comes in and says, I got $50,000 inherited and I want to invest it. I'm not sure what to do. What would you suggest?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair question. So when you talk about inheritance, there's always some things that you got to think about. Number one, what type of money is it that you are inheriting? If it is before tax money, like an IRA, 401k, any government controlled ERISA plan, like a 457, 403b, any before tax account like that. Normally what you want to do is you want to set it up to where in the event of your passing, you can pass those funds to your heirs in the form of an inherited IRA. That's the right way and the best way to do it if you don't want to hammer them with taxes. Now, obviously, if it's like a non-qualified after-tax account, they might not have any taxes, or a life insurance policy. So it just depends on the type of funds. But if it is before tax, you definitely want to make sure it's set up to your heirs to give them the option to either take it as a lump sum, pay all the taxes, and move on, or they can set it up as an inherited IRA, and then they have 10 years to pay those taxes over the course of 10 years. Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's assume at this point that it's 50,000 cash. It's not qualified money, so it's already it's not sitting in an inherited account or anything. He just gets it cash.
Okay. Yeah. So if that's my client and he's in his 30s, obviously I want to talk to him, get an understanding as far as what his goals are, what his concerns are, what he's looking to do. But typically, somebody, that that age, you said it, a kid, a lot of time ahead of them, kind of like, hey, 30, 40 years before they got to retire, hopefully. So with somebody like that, they can be a little bit more aggressive and take that, afford to take that risk in that time to just kind of let things, progress and grow. But it does depend on each individual person that I talk to, what they're looking for, what their situation is, because we do both sides of it. We do the market side if the client wants to go aggressive, and also do the safe, conservative, insured side if the client wants to go that route. So it's just completely up to the individual, Gary. I
Okay.
guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that's good. Let's look at it from the standpoint of, they said, yeah, I'm 35. This isn't the only money I have. My risk tolerance is pretty high. I'd love to see what you can do on the market side. I'm not super concerned with T-bills or anything like that.
Yeah. So what I would do with that, I use a software that is proprietary to us. It's like an actuary, an analyst, all in one, right? So it's not cheap, but basically what I do with it is it does all my analytics and all the numbers for me. And if you're looking for growth, the best growth strategy right now is what I do is I take let's say the top 500 stocks on the S&P 500. All I do is I take those 500 stocks, plug them into my software. It calculates and spits back, okay, this is the top 20 out of 500. Okay, this is the top 20 faith-based, highest rating, highest trending, highest earning stocks. And that's called the top 20 strategy on our faith-based investment side. And what I do with that is every single month, I just look at whoever's in my top 20 strategy for growth. And I look at those 20 stocks. The algorithm, the software that I use will automatically look at them and see if they're underperforming, and then recommend, stocks to replace them if they are. And I just rebalance it every month with the top 20. So you're constantly in the top 20 highest earning stocks. That's growth.
Okay. That's interesting. I deal with financial advisors sometimes, and I always, when I talk to you and Anthony, it's kind of a different story, because I've had people say, so we'll be meeting at least twice a year, and we'll be able to review your portfolio and see how things are going. And I just, when somebody tells me that, I kind of laugh. It's like, twice a year, that's 6
Right.
months. I mean, the market moves like every day. Are you kidding me? Well, we will rebalance and realign at least, if it's a busy year, we'll try to do it, every quarter, but typically we'll be meeting with you 1 to 2 times a year and talk about your money, which to me is like, I just go, that's crazy. That's crazy.
It's not enough. Yeah. You see, that's your buy and hold mentality. Okay.
Okay.
It's less work. It's easier to do it. That's why, the bulk of the advisors, 90-95% of them go that route, man. They don't want to put the work in, and do what's right. And, so it's a lot of work. I get it. Right. You want to take the road less traveled sometimes, but that's not necessarily the best route. Right.
Okay. They're very interesting. So now, if you were, what is your favorite faith-based stock, by the way?
Well, just me
I know mine.
personally. Wingstop. Wingstop's a good one. Domino's is another one. There's a ton of them. The actual numbers are there's 9,000 publicly traded stocks, and out of 9,000, 93% are faith-based.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so we have a ton of stocks to choose from. It's just, for whatever reason, on the secular side of things, well, I know why. Everybody knows why. There's an agenda out there to push that, BlackRock and Vanguard and all that stuff. They push it, man. And that's why it's prevalent right now in our world that we're living in.
Interesting. Yeah. Because you get into the FANG, it's like, what they do with their money, just, sometimes it makes me sick.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people don't think about it from that perspective of, well, if I purchase a stock, that's an equity. I'm part owner of that company. What are they funding and supporting with my money? Because I'm part owner.
People don't want to think that way. They don't. I've done seminars. I did one. In fact, I did one with Anthony, and I had somebody come up to me afterwards and say, that's ridiculous. Why do you bring religion into money? That's stupid. It's just money. I'm investing my money. What? And I was kind of like, I was kind of surprised. I went, well, let me see how I respond. And I go, it's everything. if you have faith and you believe in being a good person, you believe in God and all that, it's like you have to be responsible with everything.
Absolutely.
It's not just,
Absolutely.
it's not just responsible in how you treat people or relationships or how you talk, and it's how you eat and drink and behave and how you work and play and invest your money. So I thought it's just so
Right,
interesting.
Exactly. You don't want to be, for example, I mean, I got a lot of I have some clients that are pastors. You don't want to get up on the pulpit every day, preach pro-life, and then turn around and fund abortion. You just don't want to do that.
Yeah. My
And
Google
that's
stock did great today. And everybody goes like, what did you just say? If Google's doing great, that means they're funding more abortions. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Don't do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, that's where we stay away from that side. We stay away from the Google, the Apple, the Netflix, the Facebook. That's the secular side, man. And they're no better than Wingstop, Domino's, or, it's how you manage it and your philosophy when you manage it that matters. That's what translates into performance.
Interesting. I love it. Okay, I'm switching it up. This time, my girl is 50 and she inherited $500,000 from her dad, and it is cash. But she's 50. She's done okay. I mean, she has money to get by, hasn't really had a lot of money before. But now she's 50. And so obviously her risk tolerance is a lot less than a 35-year-old that has other money. And this is a huge amount of cash for her. So how would you start this person kind of on the road to figuring out what to do? Because understand, this would be somebody that doesn't even know what, I mean, it's like $500,000 for them is like, oh my gosh, I've never had this much money before.
Like shock overload.
Yeah.
So I would say to her or to them or whoever, that person, I would say, first I would like to, just talk with them, get an idea, understanding of what they're wanting to do. But I would obviously talk to them about their
2 minutes.
that stuff. But with that type of money, I mean, what most people will do is they're kind of, because I do both sides. I can do the aggressive market side and the safe and conservative, like I said before. So it just depends on the client, right? So if I talk to her and she says, well, I want the upside of the market, I want to make some money, but I also don't want to risk all my money. Okay. Usually that's pretty, par for the course, so to speak. Everybody doesn't want to go one way or the other. They don't want to go too aggressive or too conservative. So what I like to do, and in that situation with her, I think I would tell her, hey, I like to use the rule of 100. It's a fiduciary rule. I don't know if have you ever heard of the rule of 100, Gary?
Remind me.
So the rule of 100, it was a rule that was passed by the Department of Labor in June. Basically, it just states that as a fiduciary, what we can do in that situation, we have to take the client
1 minute.
So 100, right? The 100 rule minus their age. So she's 50. So according to the rule of 100, I should take 50% of her portfolio and put it into an aggressive investment like the top 20 strategy. And I should take 50% of her portfolio and put it into a conservative investment like a CD or a T-bill that can draw, 5.5% interest in 6 months. Something safe and conservative, but also give her the upside of the market on the other portion that she wants aggressive.
I like it. The 100 rule. I think Anthony has explained. I just forget things like that. That's why I have you guys. I don't have to think as much. All right. This is Aaron Wright. He's a financial fiduciary with Retirement Specialty Group. The number is 931 retired. Aaron, would you be able to stay for another segment, or you got to run?
Yeah, I actually do got to run.
Okay, that's fine.
I wish I could stay.
Oh, that's no problem. That's no problem. No, we really appreciate you being on. We'll talk to you next Thursday. Maybe you'll be able to get back on with me, but we'll talk to you again next Thursday.
Love to.
All right.
Absolutely love to. Gary.
We'll be back in a minute here on the Word on Wealth.
Gary's here to give you peace of mind with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary to build, protect, and transfer your wealth. 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Have today's economic conditions and high inflation made it difficult for you in retirement? Hi, I'm Shane Sletter, the mortgage advisor on the Word on Wealth. You hear me with Gary Quackenbush, answering your questions every Tuesday at 2 p.m. For over 20 years in San Diego, I've specialized in home financing solutions for seniors. as they get older and their families. If you qualify, a reverse mortgage allows you to convert part of your home equity into either a lump sum, line of credit, or much needed monthly income. You're insured and protected against ever owing more than the value of your home. And you don't have to sell your home, give up title, or get new conventional mortgage financing with monthly payments. The program is designed to make it easier for seniors to qualify. I will walk you through every step of the process. To receive a free reverse mortgage guide by mail, text REVERSE to 858-683-1716 or give me a call on my direct number, 858-683-1716.
Licensed with the state of California. NMLS ID number 239958. DRE number 01174642.
Tell a friend about this broadcast outreach, The Word on Wealth, with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQLaw.com.
Happy Thursday. So good to have you along. We just got that great conversation with Anthony Wright's assistant advisor partner, and that is Aaron Wright. So Aaron is a financial fiduciary, a fiduciary investment advisor, and he's able to help us out. And I loved some of the stuff that he was talking about specifically, and that is how you manage risk. So I really appreciate them being on the show. The next question, or let's see, the thing that we want to talk about now is actually we're going to go into our estate planning mode. I'm going to open up the line so you can talk to me and ask me a question about your estate plan or your ideas for estate plan, or if you need one. And the number is 888-344-1170, 888-344-1170. Okay. So I want to talk about fiduciaries. And what is that? We talked about it in a financial standpoint with Aaron Wright, and now we're going to talk about it from a standpoint that affects you from an estate planning. Okay, so a fiduciary is a person that is required to act in the best interest of the person they are a fiduciary over. Okay, Anthony Wright gave an example. He said, if you're a fiduciary and somebody said, hey, I want you to go to McDonald's and pick me up a Big Mac, and while you're at it, I want you to supersize it and get me a ice cream cone and a supersized Coke and an apple pie and that dessert thing that they're special this month. If you're a fiduciary, you'd say, Sorry, can't do that. I can get you the burger and I can get you a small drink, maybe small fries, but the rest of it, that's not good for you. I can't act for you on your behalf and do things that are not good for you. So I thought that was an interesting example that, if it were a regular, advisor, it's like, sure, I'll get you whatever you want. I'll get you and do whatever investment you want. But it's like fiduciaries have to be responsible to take care of the person, to watch over the person who they're assigned to watch over. So other examples of fiduciaries would be a conservator, a guardian, a trustee, or a power of attorney. Now, the conservator would be have responsibility over somebody who did not have the mental capacity to be able to manage their own affairs. And that might be physical affairs, personal affairs, or like financial affairs. So you could have a conservator over somebody's finances. You could have a conservator over a person's person, their actual decisions regarding medical and where they live and who they're with and all that. A guardian is a fiduciary because a guardian is now has responsibility over the person of a child that's under 18. A trustee. So in your living trust, you'll have somebody that is a trustee or a successor trustee, and they are a fiduciary. They're required, therefore, to look out for the best interests of the beneficiaries, not themselves, but of the beneficiaries. You also have power of attorneys, and an individual that serves as your power of attorney also is a fiduciary. Now, a lot of times they don't act like it, but you can hold them responsible. So you've got these fiduciaries, conservatorship, guardian, trustee, and power of attorney. The ones that we specifically deal with, if you have a living trust, will, power of attorney, and all that, is going to be the guardian, the trustee, and the actual power of attorney. Okay, so let's talk about who can serve as a fiduciary. Because when you set up an estate plan with me, we give you a worksheet to come up with ideas on who you would want to serve as your fiduciary, the person that is going to act when you no longer can. So that fiduciary, and this would be serving, let's say as your successor trustee. You want to decide on who's going to be a successor trustee, and you're trying to decide who should I have. Well, you can either do it individual, a professional, or an institution. Okay. Individually, which is what most people do, is they will have a family member, somebody that's maybe your age or younger. Maybe if you're young, maybe they're going to be somebody that's older, but somebody that you would use in, whenever you pass away or became incapacitated, that person would be managing your finances. So if you're going to use a family member, you want somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that you think is going to be around for a while. And you could always name a second choice and a third choice. Now, I always recommend you do at least 3, because if the first one cannot do it because they're unavailable, they're off in Alaska on some job somewhere, they're off traveling and something needs to be done immediately, then you could have the alternates. You have a first successor trustee nomination, a second trustee, a successor trustee nomination, and a third successor trustee nomination. You have those 3. Also, it makes it so you don't have to amend and update your trust as much, because what happens if one of your trustees that you have named dies? That happens. Well, if you've named 3, then 1 died, you got 2, so you're still good. Okay. You probably don't need to come and amend, and now, unless you have another one that decides to move out of the country or dies, then you probably need to amend your trust to add in more fiduciaries, more trustees. Okay. So the other way is to choose a friend. Now, friends are great. Friends don't last as long as family. But sometimes friends are a little easier to deal with. So if you're going to nominate a friend, I would suggest that you at least broach the subject with them. Hey, I'm doing my estate plan with GQ Law, and I'm wondering, I'm looking for somebody that can be my successor trustee. I'm wondering if that's something that you would be willing to do. And they'd say, I would be honored. Okay, that's a green light. You don't send them a copy of the trust when you're done with it. You don't send them a copy of the will. You don't send them your estate planning documents. You don't have to, do anything like that. You just wanted to make sure that they're not going to be shocked and offended because you didn't ask them before you wrote them into your trust as the fiduciary. But you don't send them a copy of the trust, because if you then decide you're going to change them and put somebody else in their place, then you got to tell them, yeah, you're not my trustee anymore. So sorry. So let's not do that. So don't give them a copy of the trust. Just ask if it's okay. And then if you do it, you can say, yeah, I have you named It's subject to amendment, subject to change later, but I have you in there. Okay, so individuals would be family members or friends. What about using a professional? If you got questions for me, give us a call, 888-344-1170. And if you want help with your estate plan, I'm happy to do that. 855-500-TRUST, 855-500-TRUST. So let's not wait any longer. You guys, don't wait too long. Don't wait till after the holidays. Don't wait till you're, running, you're walking down the jetway to get into the plane and then go, oh, crud, I should have done an estate plan. Get your estate plan done. Get it out of the way. If you want professional help doing it, that's my job, 855-500-TRUST. If you think you can do it on your own, great. That's great. I meet with people periodically. Luckily, not too often, but periodically they come in with a brand new trust and they say, yeah, I just got this trust. I'm so excited, but I want you to look at it and tell me if it's okay. And my response is, why would I do that? You didn't pay me to do the trust. Who did the trust for you? Oh, my cousin or my, a friend of mine or this guy in the neighborhood, but I want to make sure it's right. Well, I'm going to charge you full price for a new trust. If you're coming in and saying, I don't even know if this thing's right. I just got it from this guy for a couple $100, but I want you to tell me if it's right. I'm gonna just do it over. I don't want to review it and say, oh yeah, the guy's right. Wow, you saved a lot of money by going to somebody else and asking an attorney if he would certify that this person that did this really cheap job did it right. That's kind of unfair. And I just think, just get it done right. Don't mess. It's an estate plan. You won't even know if it's done right. You'll be dead. And your kids are going to figure out whether it's done right. I looked at one last week and I was shocked at the provisions. I read it to the client. I said, here's what this says. This specifically says, this is a husband and wife team. They own the house together. And somehow the person that put it together, they were saying it wasn't wasn't the people that I'm meeting with, but it said that if the husband died first, the house would be distributed to the children. Well, what about the wife? What about the house for the wife? And they were shocked and they said, no, that's not what it says. I said, I'm sorry. That's what it says. I'm reading it. I've done this for 35 years. That's what it says. And it's the language is more technical than that, but that's what it said. And they went, that's stupid. We bought the house together 20 years ago. Why would we want to give it to our kids when the first one of us dies? I said, no, it's not when the first one. It's only if the husband died first, the house is going to be distributed to the kids. So then they're going to, I guess, then mom can rent from them. 1 minute. Stupid. So that's a trust that you want to fix, you want to amend, but that's what I see. And it just drives me crazy. The templates are beautiful. Do they work? I don't know. And it depends on what other language you're going to add. Don't do it yourself. Okay. So we talked about individuals. When we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about professional fiduciaries. What about, a financial advisor or an attorney be a fiduciary in my estate plan? And that is a possibility that we'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of that coming up next here on The Word on Wealth.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know where to find answers you can trust when you need them. Welcome to The Word on Wealth with Gary Quackenbush. We're here to help you build, protect, and transfer everything you've worked hard for with expert estate planning, trust administration, inheritance, and probate. Call Gary and the team at gqlaw.com. 855-500-TRUST.
Gary, how do you and your team help our listeners avoid probate?
Well, first of all, probate is a process that involves attorneys, judges, and sometimes contesting parties. And so we try to avoid probate at pretty much all costs. The way we do that is setting up living trusts, setting up properly documented wills, putting the property like houses, cars, properly funded so that it avoids probate. I know. I'm like dry voice necessary if the estate plan is set up right. So we help them get it set up. This is going out on YouTube. That's done through a properly created living trust.
Call Gary and the team at GQ Law, 855-500-TRUST, or go online and download Gary's free ebooks and videos. Read Gary's blogs. Call or click to request your free initial consultation. That's gqlaw.com, 855-500-TRUST.
Imagine you're a lonely single teenage mom saying to yourself, I have nothing for this baby. Imagine trying to survive and struggling just to put clothes on your newborn. Right here in San Diego County, a volunteer outreach organization collects and distributes new and gently used clothing, blankets, and more. And it meets the heartfelt needs for community, dignity, and hope. Discover Gently Hugged. Learn more. Give and volunteer now at gentlyhugged.org.
We get it. You're busy. You don't have time to waste on the mainstream media.
I'm going to be interviewing Judy in January
Okay.
Topics that
for our community focus program.
Nice.
and more.
She's
Open
really
read
a
and
good
free
gal.
speech. You want
About this broadcast outreach, The Word on Well with Gary Quackenbush of GQ Law. Call or click to request your free initial consultation or to talk with a member of the team. Call Gary at 855-500-TRUST. GQlaw.com.
Whoa. There we are. Hey, welcome to Word on Well. That's funny. I dropped my headphones. I was trying to swap out and I couldn't hear a thing. But here we are. Welcome to the Word on Well. This is Gary Quackenbush. So we are talking about who's going to be your fiduciary, who's going to be your successor trustee in your trust, individual, professional, or institution. If you do a professional, you can put an attorney in there. You can name an attorney as your successor trustee. I would never do that. Don't do that. They're way too expensive. People ask me all the time, they go, Gary, you're going to be my trustee, right? And I say, well, no, I'm not going to be your trustee. I don't act as trustees, and I did for my own family, but I won't do it for a client because I would rather be the attorney for the trustee. So you're a trustee, can hire me, and I'll do the work to do the administration, the distributions, the accountings, and all that stuff. I'll do all the dirty work. I'll do all the heavy lifting. But I'll do it as the attorney for the trustee, not as the trustee. So you could put an attorney if you can talk him into it or her into it, but I wouldn't suggest it. As far as financial advisors are fiduciaries. Again, if it's going to be somebody, a financial advisor that you're going to name in your trust as being your financial fiduciary, you need to clear it with them. Some financial advisors want to review your trust documents first before you actually name them in them, just so they can kind of see if they're cool with the way the documents are set up. Sometimes financial advisors want you to put some extra language in your trust just to let them be the trustee. So you're going to use them, depends, but that's always a possibility. Institutional is probably the next, let's see, I think of as a professional, probably what I would do is I would go with a professional fiduciary. Literally, I would name somebody from the Professional Fiduciary Association of California, PFAC. Because when you go with somebody like from PFAC, that means they're a member of this Professional Fiduciary Association of California, and that means they have a license to do what they're doing. That means they're bonded. They have to have to belong to the organization. They have to have some credential and some credibility. So I would go with somebody like that. And sometimes we do a trust where it says, I'll have my sister as my successor trustee. And if she can't do it, then I want somebody from PFAC named. And so then basically the beneficiaries can go and track down somebody from PFAC and get somebody named. So that's always a possibility. So if you're going to use a professional, A private professional fiduciary, I would probably use a private professional fiduciary, like somebody from a Professional Fiduciary Association of California. You can look them up. There's a catalog and a directory of who they are, and you can see who you like, who's got the best smile, interview them, make sure it's somebody you like, and then name them in your trust as the successor trustee. The other thing you could do is maybe your attorney would have a suggestion. Like I always have suggestions on who could be your fiduciary if you want. Another way to do it is with an institution. Now, usually they're going to want to, they're going to usually just want cash. They don't want to have real estate managed. So if you have a lot of real estate in your trust, an institution probably won't do it. And this would be like something that's a company, like like Wells Fargo Trust Services. They'll do it. I don't know. They're just, most of the big institutions charge like 5 to 6% per year of the gross amount under management. So the fees are sometimes enormous. Banks will do it. Sometimes the fees with them are huge. You just check with their fee schedule and see whether you can stomach it, whether it's too high. A brokerage house, sometimes that's even a better deal because they'll manage your money, but they'll do it cheaper. Like if you go through, and I'm not endorsing Schwab or anything, but that's just the most recent one we've done where we named Charles Schwab Trust Services, and they had a sliding scale. So the more money you had in there, the cheaper the fees were, which I thought was really fair. So I think I would use a brokerage house before I would use a trust company or a bank, just because of fees. And the difference is going to be probably 5 to 8 times higher if you use a trust company or a bank as opposed to a brokerage house. But that's stuff to look into. You can always ask for their fee schedules. Okay. So those are your choices. Some of the things you can go, and that is if you're choosing a financial fiduciary to be a professional fiduciary to be your successor trustee. I usually try to go with an individual. That's my first choice. If you can find an individual family member that can do it, and you just make sure that they understand that they need to hire someone to help out. Your trust will say, when I create them, the trust says that they have an obligation to delegate responsibilities to make sure their task is done properly. And part of that delegation is hiring professionals such as a tax professional, an attorney, an accountant, whatever needs to be done so that things can be done totally, legitimately, professionally. Okay. That's how you choose a fiduciary. And when you come in to see me to get your will and trust done, I'm going to be asking you who your financial fiduciaries are. Who are you going to use for a successor trustee? Are you going to use a family member, professional? If I'm going to make suggestions, I'm going to do it just like I did. I'll give you the suggestions and then you can go from there. So that's the way that works. Okay. Deciding which one is just going to be a matter of it's hard to go wrong because, you just try to think, well, if I passed away today, who would be able to help me? And then in 5 years from now, when it changes, go like, okay, if I pass away today, oh my gosh, I'd never put that person in again. And you can just amend it, take that person out. Then there's a big debate on whether you should use a family member or a professional. And I don't think there's really any question. If you have a family member that's responsible, have them do it. They're going to know your stuff. They're going to be able to take care of you. And let's look at it this way. Let's say, let's look at reasons to use family members and reasons to not. So let's say you got one of your children as the fiduciary and they're just really stingy, like super miserly with their money. They're worse than you are. They're just really, they've got money. They just don't like to spend it. And they're just really miserly, not in a good way, but like kind of excessively. And then they like their money a lot. So if you choose somebody like that, let's say you became incapacitated. Okay, now maybe you're in assisted living or something and you can't manage your money because you've lost the mental ability, the mental capacity to do it. And now you have this stingy child as a stingy successor trustee, and they're deciding, I'm not going to spend that much money on mom. She's got dementia anyway. She doesn't even know where she is. I'm not going to spend that much money on care. She'll get good enough care if we take her to this other place over here. It's out in the middle of nowhere, whatever. She doesn't know what's going on. That's what you might get. You might get a stingy kid, a stingy successor trustee who's trying to preserve the estate so there's something left over. And that's horrible. So if you worry about that, it's realistic. You know, it's not bad to worry about stuff like that. It's realistic because sometimes it happens. Not always, but sometimes just happens. So do you want to put your kid that's like really liberal with money? I kind of like the idea of using your kid that money doesn't really affect them that much. Maybe they've got lots of money. You know, maybe they just do fine. And money is just not a big deal for them. They don't really, it's not their world. You know, it's not like everything to them. Like, I gotta have a really expensive car and I gotta have a really expensive house. And I'm gonna stretch myself right to the very, very limit of my finances because it's important to me. That's not the kid you want to have as your successor trustee either. Because, you know, maybe they're a little irresponsible. It just really depends. So you just got to choose, make your best efforts to make that decision. And keep in mind, it is not permanent. If you make that choice in your living trust and you say, I want these 3 people, 1, 2, 3, as my successor trustees, and then later on it falls apart, you find out that kid's just like really, really bad with money, and you're afraid that they're going to waste your money, you can always change it. Your trust is always changeable. That's the kind of the nature of the document, is you can change it until you die, then nobody can change it. But that's why I like trusts a lot. Okay. So the other thing is get it done. And that's hard to emphasize enough. So many of you don't have an estate plan because you're trying to decide, I don't know who's going to be my successor trustee. I don't know who's going to be the guardian of my minor children. I can't even think about that during the holidays. I get that, but get it done, because your estate plan is something that's going to really help you feel comfortable that you've taken care of business, a big checklist, something that you've always wanted to do and you know you need to get done. We can talk about whether there's going to be a will and a trust and a healthcare power of attorney in the whole works, or can you survive with just a will and a power of attorney and a healthcare? Those are things we can talk about. To get an appointment, now you can. It's 855-500 trust. 855-500 trust. You can get a hold of me, my team. You can get an interview with me or one of my team members and figure out exactly where you can go with this thing. Because doing estate plans, it's just really important. So good. Hey, another thing I thought of, if you wanted to, is during the holidays, we have Gently Hugged. It's a charity that we're sponsoring, and we have a drop box in our lobby here in the building, and we also have one in the foyer of our office. And Gently Hugged is an organization that collects new or gently used clothing for children that are born either prematurely, well, from age preemie all the way to 1-year-old. We're collecting clothes for them. Gently Hugged is an organization that puts those clothes in these assembled packages, really nice, with a handmade blanket and a board book and some other supplies. And it's enough clothing and supplies to get a child through the first year of life. Some mamas do not have enough money to have the supplies and the clothing for their kids at all. So this helps, and they've helped like almost 1,000 kids. It's just a miracle what they do. It's called Gently Hugged. You can either bring stuff, clothing, and donations to my office, or you can go on their website, gentlyhugged.org. So gently, like kind and gentle, hugged, like hugging a bear. Gentlyhugged.org, gentlyhugged.org. You can go on there. You can donate money. You can donate your time, and just do that during the holidays. You know, it feels good. It feels right. Take care of that. Gentlyhugged.org. All right, the rest of the week we have got tomorrow. Well, let's see. So on Friday we've got let's see. We have Chivara. The guy is the owner of the Rising Tide Ranch. We're gonna be talking about the Rising Tide Ranch tomorrow. That's gonna be super fun, and that's with Chivaria. That'll be tomorrow on the Word on Wealth on our Finding Joy Friday. So listen up tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday, and wishing you a great rest of your day right here on the Word on Wealth. Talk to you tomorrow, everybody. Buck Chivaria.
Tell a friend about the Word on Wealth, featured since 1995, with financial solutions attorney Gary Quackenbush, an expert in estate planning. wills and trusts, and tax problem solving. Gary is past president of the California Society of Tax Consultants. Reach out to us. The Word on Wealth team of financial experts is here to answer your questions and help preserve your family's financial future. The information you hear on the Word on Wealth is for general information purposes only. This program discusses general financial and legal topics. Seek legal advice from a competent lawyer for your individual legal needs. The opinion